I actually started in my 40s, so 8 years back. Some friend of mine was like, why don't you try being an influencer? And I was like, don't be ridiculous, I'm 40. So initially I got like a lot of, oh my God, where are we going with this? She's having a midlife crisis. I had people saying she's being a model. My older one, because she was a girl, it was not easy for her. And to kind of see your mother out there and for little boys at that impressionable age to make a comment, I would imagine it wasn't easy for her.
Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.
In the ever-evolving world of fashion and beauty, there are a few individuals who manage to stand out, not just for their style, but for their influence and innovation. Khushnaz Ashdin Turner, aka Cat Diaries, the name, of course, we'll get to it in just a bit, so stay tuned till the very end because I'm going to ask her that question. As an influencer and an entrepreneur who creates fashion, beauty, travel, lifestyle content and is slaying it in style right here, even in the studios today. A mother of two, one girl, one boy, started blogging out of passion and turned it into a full-time career. I admire her for standing up for who she is, how hard-working she is. I think people just assume looking good is just genes. Showing up every single day is just so easy and effortless. But trust me, I've seen her. And she works really hard to get where she is today. And of course, working on her growth as a creator. She will never fail to surprise you. Please welcome Cat Diaries.
Thank you so much, Mansi, for doing this. It was so sweet. Very kind. Very kind.
I am so excited to just be sitting in front of you and I'm checking out, okay, Ajusne, what products has she used to look this good? Like, tell me, why do people think it's very effortless and easy for you?
I think we make it look effortless because this comes, maybe it's always been effortless and which is the reason why I started this, right? Like this comes so easy to me. I've always been somebody who loves to get dressed, look a certain part. And hence, this was clearly where I needed to be because it comes easy to me. I love it. Getting dressed is the easy part of my career, I feel, for me. I feel everybody has their strengths and this styling and getting dressed and looking apart is a strength for me.
Yeah. Were you always like this as a kid? Did you always dress up and always have the perfect bow, perfect matching hairband?
Always. Even when I was dressing up my daughter, it was always like this. If I'm packing a bag for the kids, and even though they are very old, I'll want to see what they're putting for their dinner looks. I'm one of those. So, yeah, I think styling is something that is just there.
Yeah. Did you ever think in your childhood, I always keep saying this and I truly believe that who we are is somewhere molded and shaped in our childhood. Was your mom a large part of who you are today? What was Khushnaz growing up? And when did you think, like, I have it, I can do this?
Okay, so I come from a family of family business, which is where I was post-graduation. My mom is the one who started this business. Of course, my dad has his own, but she started this courier company while I was in my 8th and 9th. Until then, she was like a full stay-at-home mom. But I've always seen my mom looking absolutely stunning in her saris with jewelry, going to work, because ours is a marketing job. So she needs to look a certain part, similar to what I do here. And constantly be looking a certain part because you need to, because it's a front-facing job. So I think I grew up seeing my mom take care of the smallest things. Now, something that stayed with me for many, many years is I would always see my mom doing her own pedicure and manicure at home. And this is something that maybe was engraved in my mind, that you always need to kind of look a certain way to present it. Because even when I started my career with Korea, I always wanted to play that part. So I think, playing a part through my dressing and telling a story literally is like, okay, today I feel like I'm going to be corporate. Or today I feel like I just did a post for somebody recently. And it was very, very retro, very 60s.
Yeah.
It's just something I thought of and then we kind of played along with that. Yeah. So that's the fun, creative part.
The retro one just blew my mind.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was so beautiful. It was a classic.
Yeah, it was just, something, I actually had no clue what I was going to do. I wore those clothes and I turned it around. I wore the shirt in a different wear. Yeah, the hair, hair is something I love experimenting with, right? Like doing different things with my hair. I also feel creatively in this space, if I'm not going to try everything at least once, how will you ever know?
Yeah.
So in my personal space, Khush, like
You
I
know-
say, cat and Khush.
Yeah.
Khush is exactly what you're seeing me today.
Yeah.
Like hair is always down, minimal wake up. So in my cat space, I love to try things because I feel like if I don't there, then, where's the fun?
Where's that split in your head coming from? Like, when did that actually split? Because I want to know, you started what, soon after your kids?
I did. No, I didn't. I actually started in my 40s, so 8 years back. So I
my
was,
God.
yeah, I was
And
doing a
you've
full
doing-
career of career and marketing.
Okay, so let's go back, because I don't know how many people know this, that you're only 8 years old in the business.
I am only 8 years old.
So walk me back. Gets married at 22, 23.
20.
Till then, you were doing your mom's business.
I was doing my mom's business until I was 40. So not even 40. So I started this in 2016 summer. In 2019 December, I finally said I couldn't. I think I reached a point where I was completely burnt out because you can't be doing both
Yeah.
things. And also felt like this is where I needed to be because my heart was here.
Yeah.
And then you finally realize that you're doing that well, but you're doing this
Better.
way better. Yeah. So
But tell me, so after you graduated, you were working with your mom.
my whole life.
Then
For
then
15,
got
20
married.
Yeah, then got married at 23. Then I had both my kids, was working along. Like literally after Thea, I went back to work in 5 months. With Zaveri, I was back at work within a month.
No.
So, yeah, so then the work was a full-time job, 9 to 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And then what happened in 2016?
so in 2012, I did 1 year of sabbatical from my parents saying, let me try styling. So clearly this is something that keeps pulling me back. And I tried styling for a year. I did 16 commercials. It was mad 18-hour work days from 6 in the morning until 1 at night. I did magazine covers. I styled celebrities for the movie promotions. I did all of that. I was offered a movie and then my husband stepped in and said, okay, done. This is not for us. Because having said that, he wasn't wrong. I had absolutely no time for the family. Like
Yeah.
if you're away from home at 6 in the morning and you don't come back at 1, I had zero social life. And we have a very hectic
Yeah.
social life, you
Yeah.
can imagine. So we literally put everything on a stop for that 1 year. And then my parents said, okay, this is not the space. I was going to places like Warsaw. I had never been to Warsaw. I'd never gone.
South Bombay alert! South Bombay girl alert!
I had no clue. My husband was like, I don't even know why you're going to these places.
You're gonna get a lot of flack
Yeah.
for this one.
No, but it is the truth. It is also
Yeah,
it's the
I know.
truth. Yeah.
I know.
Film City, Goregaon East, Goregaon West. I knew everything. So even when I came here today, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like I've been around. So I would know. And then I put a stop to that. Went back to the family business. Felt like somebody gave me a leash of life for a year where I tried something that I was so passionate about. Reluctantly went back. But I went back. And then again got back for a couple of years till 2016. Some friend of mine who's also my work person said, why didn't you try this? And I was like, don't be ridiculous. I'm 40.
What is this?
Like, why didn't you try being an influencer? And I was like, don't be ridiculous. I'm 40.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too old. These girls are all in their 20s. But he said, but you walk the talk and play that part so beautifully at work. And every time that I've seen you over the years coming to me, you would so fit this bill. And I was like, don't be mad. This is not for me. And I came back home, laughed with my husband, and I put it to rest. But knowing myself and my need to do research, I researched, I looked things up. And then that summer, I got my husband to take pictures of me because I'm somebody who gets dressed on my vacation, will do my makeup, will do. So every time I got dressed, I got him to take a picture. And at that point, it was only statics and pictures. And we would put up
Thank
a picture.
God.
Yeah,
Thank God for that.
it was easy.
It was easy.
But now I feel like reels are easy for me. So it's a question of honing that skill. So we took that picture, we let it go live. I came back to Bombay. I got a photographer. So from the day go, I knew that the content that goes out has to be the best. It cannot be mediocre. It cannot be low quality. I had people who I was looking up to, and it needed to be at least that quality.
Who were you looking up to?
some of the top girls at that point internationally, even locally, and it felt like if the content was of a certain standard, at least it would set me apart.
Yeah.
So that's something that I always maintained. So whether I looked a certain part and I got the best photographer, so I always worked with the best. I felt like that really made it super easy for me to fit into this.
And then when you posted it, what was everyone's reaction?
So initially I got like a lot of, oh my God, where are we going with this? She's having a midlife crisis. I had people saying she's being a model. I had people say, I don't know why she's doing it. And also
She doesn't need the money. Did that come?
Oh my God, for many years. My parents said this to me up until very recently, that you don't need to. And even today they will say, oh, you don't need to. So you don't need to push yourself that hard. But what people don't understand is that you push yourself hard for yourself. It's never about money. Plays a very small part,
Yeah.
right? Like after
Yeah.
a certain point, it's not the money.
Yeah.
It's that drive that
Yeah.
keeps you going. So I think it was that. And I just kept going, and I was doing my family business alongside until 2019 when I finally said I can't, because it was just too difficult to do two businesses together.
And how were the kids managing through? Like, because the kids,
I
a
think
lot
my
of the kids had...
have always seen mommy working.
Yeah, but did they have like, why do you need to post your picture
Yeah.
on Instagram?
Oh my
Why
God.
do you need to post
My
this?
older one, because she was a girl, and also she was in her teenage years when
Yeah.
I started this, it was not easy for her. So she was the one who would say, Mommy, why are you behaving like this? Some boy commented or something happened. And to kind of see your mother out there, and for little boys at that impressionable age to make a comment, I would imagine it wasn't easy for her. But my husband was so encouraging always, and would always be behind me saying, no, it's something that mommy wants to do and she needs to do, and we should all support. So I came from a place of lots of support, and my son was so proud from day go. He thought this was like a chick magnet, mommy. All the girls want to know what mommy does.
And
So-
what mommy uses and how they can
so
look
he
like
was
mommy.
really bringing it, the younger one. But the older one took a little while to kind of get around it.
I'm telling you, they're just learning it all subconsciously.
Yeah,
And
they do. We just
it's-
have to, be happy with that in our mind, because lots of people say that, oh, don't worry, if they see parents who are so hardworking, it's not possible that it's not going to come in at some point.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It will. It
because
has
you're
to.
literally, they're learning from whatever you're doing. So,
You know, it's so strange that you say this, because the other day my daughter was in her class and they had to pick a word that best describes them and write a college essay. And she picked the word hardworking. And I mean, they had to pick a word that best describes and the asset that they feel that they have. And the whole essay was based on, on hard work, and how she's like, this is, if there's one thing that I've picked up from my parents, is just how hardworking they are and how they
That's
keep
superb.
I just sometimes feel like,
that is the most important thing for any child. If you're hardworking, it will set you apart from everybody else in the room,
Yeah.
because consistently and hard work are the two things that will set you apart.
Yeah.
There's not like, I feel like I have gotten here, A, because of the quality, and B, because I showed up for myself.
every single day.
I was shooting every day. I was shooting while I was working with my parents, and I couldn't shoot every day. I was shooting every weekend. So whether I went to sleep at 2 in the night, 3 in the night, I would be up at 5 or 6 in the morning to shoot from 7 to 9, so that I could go for a Saturday work day from 10 to 3. So there was absolutely... So I say this to my kids. It's all lovely to look at dad being so successful and look at mom. But are you seeing the 8 years of really hard work that mom and dad put in, or in his case, 20 years of hard work that he put in to get where we are?
Yeah.
So nothing comes for free.
Yeah.
And it's just you being consistent and putting in hard work, you will get there. There's no chance that you will not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Khushnaz, tell me, when you started, which was roughly at about 40 or 39 or whatever, women go through so many critical changes at that point in time. And I feel like when, I've spoken to so many women, they're like, I feel like my body's changing. I feel like the way I look at the way I look is changing. The way I feel confident is changing. Did you feel any of that, especially because yours is a very front-facing job?
I don't think in my mind I feel like, and my friends laugh, and these are
Yeah,
younger
but you
friends.
really don't walk the talk of a 40-year-old.
No. I, in my mind, don't think like a 40-year-old. I've never thought that my age is limiting me. I always felt like why can't I?
Yeah.
Right? So I do see some younger ones doing things. And I've never once felt that I can't because of my age. So that's something that's, maybe that's why I feel like it's just so easy for me, because in my mind I'm not thinking I'm 47 so this should limit me, or I can't wear this, or I can't do makeup like this, or I can't show up at an event like this, or everybody around me is in their 20s and I'm literally 20 years younger than some of the other content creators. No, I'm like, I'm one of y'all, I think like y'all, I create content like y'all, and that's cool.
And tell me, what is, how does it feel, or how do you explain people who give you work, a lot of the clients, a lot of the agencies that you work with, that you don't limit me, because you may believe in something, but that's not how everybody else is looking at you.
Of course, you'll have clients who predominantly are looking at the teenagers, or clients who are looking at unmarried girls, or everybody has their own reasons to work with who they do. But I've actually worked with some of the best brands in our country, internationally, both. And I've never had anybody come to me in all these years and say, oh, she's too old, I can't work with her.
No, but they won't approach you in the first place.
I've never had a campaign that I wasn't approached for either.
Wow.
I'm just being... Now, yeah, I've never not worked with a brand. So the question to kind of go back and even ask, why did you not pick me? I don't think... Or maybe...
You have so much work that you're not worried about the ones who don't approach.
No. Not at all. And the ones who don't approach, I feel like I'm also somebody who's a complete go-getter. If I want to work with somebody, I will go up and say, I want to work with you, and this is what I've aligned, and this is what my vision is for your brand, and let's work. I'm also somebody who's unabashedly will go and get whatever I want in life. There's no stopping me once I've set my heart to kind of, doing something. So
what are you made of?
Like, listen, I feel like everybody is made of this, right? Like, it's about you thinking, like, and I say this to my kids all the time, if you've made up your mind to do something, who's to stop you? Nobody can. It's and of course some people might be opposed to it and some people might make fun of it, but why should that stop or limit you? I don't think that should be, nobody should be the deciding factor for anything that happens in your life.
Tell me about this world. Like, what is Khush's world like, and what is Kat's world like?
So I think I also had that while I was doing my other work, which is my career. So I would dress a certain part for my corporate. It'd be pretty much similar to what I'm wearing today. Covered up fully head to toe. Very businessy, very corporate. Kat for me became an extension of my work. And hence it was work, but it was eclectic fun work because we are in an artistic, creative space. So I had to kind of emote that. And my clothes and my sense of style, I think, are a creative outlet for me. So I kind of built a persona around it, which was Kat. So Kat would be crazy, fun, not so sexy. Khush, on the other hand, is open hair, very sexy. That is my Khush persona. Khush is also actually, which it doesn't come across on my page, is somebody who is so fun, completely crazy, like a mad Bavi, which is what I was called my whole college life. Kat is, for y'all, is coming across more professional. I don't know whether it was intentional or just something that came across on the page.
For me, the professional part comes through both. Like, I follow your content and I've met you so many times in person. And I think just the way you carry yourself, just the way you talk.
I think it's age, Mansi, because I look at younger ones and I feel like, we firstly don't take ourselves so seriously, because as you age, you realize that you need to be able to laugh at yourself and to, not make
the
a big
ego has become so frivolous. Because, I can see it, like sometimes when I look at younger people, I'm like, where's the ego coming from? And I would be just like you, and I keep telling my kids this as well, that I said, मांगने में क्या जाता है, right? Like, I was
if
at
you
this...
ask, you shall get.
I was at this event where Neena ji was speaking, and she said, काम मांगने में कोई शर्म नहीं.
I agree.
हाथ बढ़ाने में और मुफ्त का लेने में शर्म ही शर्म आनी चाहिए. But काम मांगने में किस चीज़ की चीज़? Like, I have done everything which was right to get work. I have not done any wrong to get work, and I feel that is so true.
Yeah.
Because I think that grit, that discipline of ask and you shall get is coming from...
I feel like today's generation takes themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
There's no need to take yourself so seriously. There is, you've got your whole life ahead of you.
But tell me, can we do that because we have a solid foundation backing us at home and we can afford to do it? And do you feel like there are a large part of the creators who are out there
also working very hard.
also working very hard, but this is it. This is all they have. There's no backing that today one campaign goes away, then how am I going to pay this bill, or how am I going to take care of that, or how am I going to...
We also have these problems, Mansi. I feel like it's about, it's about, for me now, there are large salaries to pay. We have teams.
Yeah.
Teams need to be
Yeah.
paid. It's not about, if your campaign is not happening, that means you have to understand that month, if you didn't get a certain amount, then the money is going out of your pocket.
Yeah,
So that's how we
absolutely.
run a business.
Yeah.
Which I feel like happens in everybody's business. If you're younger, I would say don't scale. If you feel like you're coming from a place where you can't, then don't scale. Don't have an assistant, an intern, and 50 people in your team.
Yeah.
That's the great place to kind of save money. Don't need to have fancy equipment. You don't need to shoot professionally. Instagram doesn't care whether you're shooting professionally. As a matter of fact, some of my big campaigns that I do for my big brands like a Louis Vuitton or a Gucci or a Dior, those are the brands that don't perform, because nobody wants to see your well-curated, editorial-looking piece, as opposed to something which is so rubbish with a front-facing camera that I
Yeah.
put up. And that will get reach, and you're just wondering, I spent 3 hours on this piece and I spent so much time, and that did not perform, and something so organic did.
Yeah.
So it's about finding what your audience really wants out of you,
Yeah.
and being able to create it. Now, whether you create it on an iPhone or Android, I don't think all that matters. I also have realized that posting at the right time is all well and good, but if your content is good, it's going to perform.
Yeah. And
It's-
if you're thinking from the user's point of view, it's always going
Yeah.
to work. Tell me, is there ever an insecurity to stay relevant?
I think if you're not relevant in your space, why are you even here? Like, this is
But
a
how do
space
you
to
build
be.
relevance?
I think I'm constantly researching, looking up, and wanting to be relevant. It's about you wanting to
And it's
do
okay to feel that I am wanting to be relevant. That's fine.
Yeah, like I feel like the end product is important. Who really is? Like, I don't feel like all of that goes at the back end is important for me. The end product for me is important. So I also say, like, my team is very young, and that keeps me maybe relevant.
Yeah.
So that's a great place for me to start. And I don't think like a 47-year-old. Maybe that keeps me relevant. And I'm also constantly wanting to better myself every week.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end of the month, I'm itching to do something new.
Yeah.
And I've never not stopped wanting to do something new. That's the reason why maybe I'm relevant, because I myself don't want to see the same content on my page. I feel like, bus, now I'm bored. Like, you
Yeah.
need to stop. You need to stop with the transition. So we did. I knew that I was one of the first ones in my space who was doing those jumping transitions, dancing transitions to the lockdowns. And then the trends. And I was if I did not catch the trend before it hit India, then it was too late. There's no point in doing a trend when 3 other people have done it. That's a clear this to the whole team is that if somebody else has done it, we need to shelf it. There's no reason to do something that everybody else is doing. Then what sets you apart?
Yeah.
You constantly need to do things that are setting you apart. What are you giving different? What are you value adding? So those are the questions that I think we ask when we decide a content piece.
Right. So what's your creative thought process? Like, how do you go about saying, this is what I need to talk about. This is me. And therefore, I'm going to do this.
There are lots of campaigns that I say no to. There are lots of brands that I will go back and say, well, this brief doesn't work for me. It's not me. It's not sounding like me. It's not true to myself. I will try the product for at least 20 days before I talk about a skincare brand, because it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Because you're also talking to a target audience which is so young. And if you've not done your due diligence, you're not being fair to the people who you're promoting to. So, of course, we make money. And, of course, we should all make money, because why am I
Yeah.
really doing
Yeah.
this? Because we all have to support, our teams and the reason why
Yeah.
you're doing this. But at the same time, you need to be true. I think I've been true to myself by working with brands that I know have a certain quality that they're upholding.
Yeah.
So that, I think, has kept it real for me.
For someone who's so motivated, who's so driven, how do you deal with lack of growth or that feeling of being stuck?
I think that's when I want to do my best work. That's when I want to ideate. That's when I feel like, also I sometimes feel like the thing that gets me going is sometimes to take a breather, a week off. I feel like when you're not doing anything is when you're doing your best work in your mind.
Right.
Because if your mind is cluttered and are because of our hectic lives with, shoots and events and doing 50 other things in a day, that is when I feel like I'm least productive. Because you're just going on an autopilot. You're not really creating because your mind is just so cluttered.
Yeah.
For you to be creative, your mind has to be clutter free. So
And when your kids are older, you were 22 and you said?
18.
18. Do you feel like you are in this new lease of life where you can, given those 18 hours which you couldn't maybe like 10 years ago, and you feel like today I can work as hard as somebody in their 20s and I can just do a lot more because I have one far greater work ethics. I'm far more sorted in my head. I have the bandwidth, resources, and the creativity, and most importantly, the time.
I truly believe that, yes, the last three things that you said are very important. I think like I'm in the right space at the right time, even though I'm much, much older. But I feel like the essence of me is all these years that went behind what you are really seeing me.
Yeah.
So I probably wasn't as confident, and this is what I tell my daughter all the time: give yourself time. I wasn't confident in my 20s. I probably didn't even look like this in my 20s. Like my children laugh.
hotter.
No, I maybe hotter, but I think like the way I've honed, the way I do my hair, the makeup, all of that, the fine tuning happened with years and years of, taking time to kind of understand yourself. So it took me a while to get here, and it took me years and years of honing this, of getting, to look a certain part, to behave a certain part, which probably it's not possible sometimes, though I feel like there are some fab girls in their 20s who are already having secondary incomes, who are in the same space as me. So it's also about work ethic.
Yeah.
Somewhere, just if you're somebody who's gotten up saying, I'm going to do this, then whether you're young, you're old, it's of no value.
It's so interesting that you say that because, when we were at that award function, I also met Dolly Jain, and she said, I started when I was 40 and today when I'm 50, I feel 50 is my best phase. I mean, I cannot even imagine my 40-year-old self would not even think that I am here today where I am in my 50s. Like, I had not planned this life for me. And I feel that's so strange. Like, we as women, we're so conditioned to believe that, okay, and maybe we are a few privileged ones who feel that, okay, we have the resources, we have the education, we have the whole ecosystem and the support system backing us. But most people, and a large part of women in India, would feel, okay, I'm getting married, it's the end of my life. Okay, I'm having kids, it's the end of my life. Okay, now I'm 40, it's the end of my life. Now I'm 50, it's the end of my life. Like, we constantly are made to believe that we are on this time bomb and it's going to take any time.
Yeah, I have lots of girls who were part of this and would feel very, very insecure when they would get pregnant because they don't know when they'd come back.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I used to see that a year or two back, and I don't see that anymore. I feel like I feel somewhere they figure out in their head that there is no stopping you, and everybody takes their own time. Like, I've seen girls, friends who've been pregnant, some taking a little longer, some getting back into it literally within a month. So again, it's a question of what you choose for yourself and what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, everybody needs to do what makes them happy at that point in their life. So if you feel like you want to take those 3 years off after having your kids because you want to spend time with them, so be it. Like, who's to judge that? But if you want to get back into it after those 3 years, please do. Let nobody tell you that you can't or you're too old and now to start again. Of course it will be tough. Nothing is easy in life. I say this to my kids a lot, is that don't feel that mommy doesn't get rejected. I get rejected regularly, guys, and there's absolutely no shame in admitting it. There are lots of brands who probably don't want to work. There are some brands who will think, oh, whatever, for whatever reason. But that's fine. That's fine. That cannot limit me. That cannot define who I am.
Yeah.
One wrong move cannot define what I'm trying to do in my life.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't define who you are. So I feel like somewhere also the younger lot needs to understand that.
Yeah.
That there'll be lots of things that will stop you and limit you. But it's about feeling like I will get up and I will get going. And
Where do you get this from?
I feel like age, I think, Mansi, maybe.
You're giving it too much credit.
I'm not sure in my mind now. I remember 20 years back where I was this sorted. I'm very sorted. Like, I also feel like 40-year-old women, and when we talk at parties, 40-year-old women also feel like, bus, done. At the age of 40, you realize, okay, I'm done with the pleasing, whoever I'm pleasing. Now I need to please myself first.
Yeah.
Which is fab.
With that attitude, the confidence and the...
Yeah, you're just like, okay, like this conversation is done.
Yeah.
You're serving no value. It is done.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear for me also. Either I'm a little like a man, if I may say so. I also don't like to dilly-dally. I don't like to... it's very cut and dry for me in everything else as well, right? Like, so I don't do window shopping. I don't understand this concept of wasting my time doing window shopping.
Me too.
Because it's a lot of waste of time.
I won't even enter a shop if I don't need to buy
I
something.
agree. And some people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, what a waste of my time. I'd much rather be doing something else.
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to do something that makes zero sense to me?
Yeah.
So somewhere I also feel like that is who I am. I don't want to waste my time doing anything that is not value adding to where I want to be. And we do a lot of social things because we need to.
Yes. But how do you now say this is value adding and this is not where I want to, because that cut
Smaller
and dry.
circles. I think the lockdown helps. Smaller circles. Having people who make you feel a certain way when you leave there. So when you've left a dinner or you've on your way back home, look inside and see how that made you feel. I think that is a clear indication of whether you should go back to,
And then what do you say? Like, I don't
you
want
don't
to come
say
back?
anything. I also feel like me and my husband are a little bit aloof as a couple. There's a certain boundary and nobody crosses that. It's us in our bubble and of course socially what you see. But being social with somebody is different from being somebody's best friend.
Yeah.
Those are two different things
Absolutely.
entirely.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we've kind of mastered that. The ones who are close to us are the ones who we'll share our life with, and the others are social friends, and that's fine.
Right.
You need to kind of, I think, guard your space.
And tell me, when you're someone who's worked so hard all her life, you've been so, this go-getter attitude. How do you tell yourself that I need to slow down to take a bigger leap, or slow down to kind of just a bigger leap? Like, how do you do that? Like, you're wired all the time.
I am. And hence we've stopped the coffee. we've cut down on my coffee intake. Because I feel like my husband says, take a rest till and start the day, Khushnaz. Like, really, just calm down. I'm one of those. If you wake me up at 4 a.m, I'll be ready to go. I'm like, oh my God, let's get to it. So if I'm on a vacation, even if we've had no sleep, I'm like, but we will miss out. We must.
Yes.
There's too much to do. That's just me as a personality. But I need space like everybody does. And I do reach a point where I've had meltdowns, especially after Diwali, which is one of the most hectic periods of the year for us. And this time we took off to Thailand, and I literally took 4 days off, and I said I'm doing absolutely nothing because I need that space to be able to kind of come back stronger, because this space does definitely take a toll on yourself, because you're constantly consuming data. Not because I'm scrolling the net at all to see what somebody else is doing. I'm scrolling it to see what inspires me, or what referencing I can do, or what research I can do. And then there's just, like I said, your mind is cluttered with just so much information.
Yeah.
And then you're working. And then you're, going to an event. And even when you're going to an event, it's a work thing.
Yeah.
It's not like fun. Oh, I went to an event and I had so much fun. No, I went to an event and there's like, chuck. I need to do all these things while I'm at that event. And now I have to post about the event.
Yeah.
So nobody's inviting you to these events to just have fun.
Yeah.
So, so you need to take time off. And I feel like that's so important for you to be able to, and I listen to my body, even when I work out. And a lot of people say, oh, how do you do this sofa challenges that I do? I do them very well because I listen to my body. If I feel like some part of my body is saying don't, I won't. I will step down and say, no, this is not working for me. We need to take it slow.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to decide the pace of your life, and only you can decide that. Like, let nobody else motivate your pace in your life.
Yeah.
So even though, again, in my SoFit challenges, we have kids who are 20, 30s, extremely fit people who are in their 50s. But they can motivate you to do better.
Yeah, of course.
But they don't need to define what you need to do on that day.
Absolutely. Tell me, when right now we're seeing so many younger women, and especially in the same field, feeling like a mental breakdown, or they feel like, they're feeling this mental health crisis. How do you deal with it? Because you're constantly being judged. You're constantly in the public eye. Like, everybody's saying, oh, she could have done this better. Oh, she could have done. Why is she wearing this? Like, how do you?
I don't get that at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe in my mind I've just shut that out.
I feel it's not only about the negativity, but it's also about somebody who's wired all the time, somebody who needs to show up all the time, somebody, like, how do you just safeguard your space?
I think you surround yourself with the right people. People who are not looking at you for the celebrity that they think you are. So when I also go to social parties and people, talk to me and they follow me, and it's lovely, and I love it. I won't lie. I love it when somebody comes up and says, oh my God, I follow you and I love your content. It makes me feel very, very good.
Yeah, I think if people stop saying that, you'd be
worried, right? Yeah.
Like, I know Shah Rukh Khan said this once, that I wake up every single day dreaming of this ocean of people right
and
outside
his
my
fear
house.
Must be, that they've
and
gone.
He's like, that is where I draw my energy, because I know that this ocean will just, slowly disappear. But he's like, till the day I am working, till the day I can work, I am working for that sea of people outside my house, and that drives me every single day. And I have worked very hard to be known. If you don't recognize me at a party or somewhere, or you don't come up to me and say, I love you and I'm your biggest fan, I will have a problem.
Yeah. I think somewhere, like, when lots of people feel like it's intruding in your space, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
It's fine. I've allowed you into my space.
Yeah.
And also you're seeing a curated version of my space, especially for us. Now, for them, it's a complete different thing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, for people like us in the content creator space, even my most raw is curated.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Yeah. This is what I say to my kids all the time. Please let nobody make you believe
Otherwise.
Yeah, just your mother does this for a living.
Yeah.
Just a little bit perspective.
You think our kids are more sane because they've seen their moms live life online and offline? They have a reality check. They have perspective.
I would hope they are learning that. Because that is... So, when Thea was talking about Taylor Swift and how much she loves Taylor Swift, we are in that phase of our life. And I'm like,
I'm also in that phase of my life.
Oh, you love her. Okay. Sorry. Okay, well, so my point is that, she's like, she's reaching out to women, and then she's making you hear what you should say to the boyfriend who's jilted you. And I'm like, darling, she has tapped her audience. She knows what they want. Now she's putting that into a song. Please. And now it's making her lots of money. I'm not saying she's not a fab. She's a genius. She's a marketing genius. She has done this to her brand. She's one of the biggest brands in the world era today. Yeah. And I'm giving her full points for that. But let's not take away from the reality that she knows what she's doing.
But we want to escape to the fantasy, That's the problem.
But my point is that let nobody else decide or make you feel like, oh my God, this has happened to her, so she is. Yes, this has happened to her, but it's also working beautifully in her favor, everything that she does.
Yeah.
That is the reality.
So amazing that you actually say that. Tell me, I have to know, everybody, is it just the Parsi genes, or are we like working out? I see your videos, of course, of you working out, but like are the hormones not being able to override the genes?
No. So I'll let you this conversation we had the other day at lunch. Of course, I'm in my perimenopause phase. It would be weird for me to not even admit it. Do I let it define me? Not at all. Do I let a hot flash in the night when I get up and I'm wet, like just drenched in sweat, get up and feel like, oh my God, this is going to define the way I react the next day? Not at all. Am I going through it? Of course I am. Am I going to make a big deal of it? Not at all. But if you want to, please, feel free to. But I don't let these things define who I am. I'm not making anything small of what you're going through in your life, and everybody has their own processes and how they do things. Of course, it's not been easy for me to lose weight. And today I am this size and everybody says, oh my God, I'm so perfect. I know myself. I know I never looked like, at the age of 39 and 40, I looked Like I thought my body looked way better. It's way harder for me. And I have to work much harder and I have to eat cleaner. And my skin will not ever look the same. So every decade, your skin, your body, your mind, everything is constantly changing, and that's fine. You just have to accept it and move on and learn what works for you for those 5 years and just consistently show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's the reason why I do my challenges, because I know that this is what keeps me fit. If I did all the things I did right now in my 20s, I don't know what I'd look like.
Yeah.
So I'm doing those things because I know I need to do those
Yeah.
things. Because I won't look that part if I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I've met so many people in this space, but there has to be this, maybe because we're both so no excuses. Like, you know, like when you said that whole perimenopause thing, right? I'm like, ho raha hai, but let's like,
Let's not that define you.
Next. So what are we doing about it? And then we're very
Somebody said,
clinical
my
about
mom says, we are constantly making fun of mom at home, saying, one of the girls who is much younger than me, and she was like, my mom is going through this and we blame everything on her menopause. If somebody said that to me at home, I'd be like, where are you going with this?
But I'm telling you, that's what I think gets people aligned and together, because I'm like, you know, cut out the bullshit. Because we're so wired, and I think how we've seen our moms play out, Khushnaz, has played a huge role in how we are, because they didn't give that bullshit. They didn't give that
I
excuse.
don't understand when women even say, it's my first day of my period, so I can't come to work. I'm like, what are you even saying?
Yeah.
And then some of them said, no, you can't say this because now people go through and all.
Yeah. No,
Means
I
like
know.
what we didn't go through. We didn't go through pregnancies, ectopics, 50 other things in our life. You still show up.
Yeah.
Like it's your mind, right?
Yeah.
It's how you program it to feel. Like I had my ectopic. I remember with Avi. This is right before Thea. I did the operation. It was a laparoscopy. The morning I went home. At night, I and Ashton went out for dinner to Royal China. She saw me there and she was like, what are you here for? I'm like, but I'm feeling fine.
Yeah.
If I'm fine, I'm going to be out. Why should I be in bed?
Yeah.
So that's me. And it's always been me, right?
Yeah.
There is no reason for you to feel that something is stopping you. No.
Yeah.
If you're feeling up to it, go and do it.
Go and do it.
Yeah.
So true. Maybe one of my concluding questions for you would be, what work do you do on yourself? Like what's your day like? Like how do you wire, and how do you, I truly believe what you eat, how you sleep, what you drink kind of is the fuel to this high octave energy that you have. Like what is a day in your life, and how do you align it from a food, nourish, soul perspective?
I also, you're right. You need to align it. If you don't align it, it won't sort itself out, right? So you need to know most days, and if I'm on my challenges, I'm really regimented, in which case I can only eat what I can eat. And there's a huge number of things that you can't eat. And also you need to take out that 1 hour a day for your workout. When I'm not on it, I'm a little bit flexible and maybe my genes kick in wherein I don't need to do as much. But otherwise, I have two sorts of days. One where I'm doing just running errands. One I'm just sitting on my table, and that is the day for all back end. So when I'm talking to clients, I'm ideating, I'm talking to teams, accounting, and a whole lot of things that is also part of my business, but we don't really talk about. And then there's shoot days where I do nothing but start getting ready by 8 in the morning and work all the way till 7. And then some days we try to interlink shoot days with events so that it's seamlessly the hair and makeup and everything is taken care of. So this is really what my week gets divided into. And then because I have a hectic social life, I also try to take the day off on a day when a girlfriend has invited me for a lunch, and I take the day off. So then maybe that day becomes part of something else. So I think I segregate my days in the week so that I'm better aligned, like you said, your right brain and your left brain, so that you're not doing everything together, because it's not possible for us to. I cannot be creating, emoting, and at the same time on that day be ideating. It's not possible for me to. I have tried it, and it's not a good place to be.
It's an epic failure. It doesn't work. Like I can't do numbers on the day that I'm shooting, because I'm so wired to what I am doing, to listening, to absorbing. Like I already know that by now we've recorded 4 podcasts, and I already know the cuts of each of them. and
Yeah.
how it's going to pan out.
I also
that-
need to pre-plan everything in my life. If I feel like if I've not organized it 3 more times, in my mind at least, then I'm just feeling like a little headless chicken that needs clarity. So I need to kind of do those calls. I need to write things down in my book so that in my mind I know that this week I have this, and this is how I'm going to plan my week. So on a Sunday, I've already planned my whole week. I don't wait for a Monday morning.
Yeah, so I always tell this to people. The best part about the best way to organize yourself is to actually start your week on Sunday and not on
It
Monday.
is.
It's a game changer
It
for
is.
me.
I feel like, so when my team is always available to me on a Sunday because I'm one of those. I like by Sunday afternoon when I'm doing nothing, like I'm saying, when you're doing nothing, I feel like your mind already
Tanya's
is
laughing because she's like,
I never want to work with this one.
He's like, okay, she's not the only one who starts sending, like, by Monday morning, everybody's inboxes are flooded because I have just gone on an overdrive with so many
Even on
thoughts.
flights. I feel like
my God. So what I do on flights, I
like
send
my to-do list is like,
I respond to all my WhatsApp messages and make so many notes on flights that I know they will be delivered the minute I land.
and they'll already be like, they just have to
They
stick to
just, correct. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Okay, guys, disclaimer, I am not the only one who works like this. Thank God.
You know, I
like,
also
until now-
realized that everybody in our space is pretty much like you and me, but with a little bit of a variation. And I say this to my girls. So whether they're in their 20s or 30s or like me in my 40s, I feel like all of us are in this space because the work ethic doesn't change,
Yeah.
guys. That doesn't
True.
change. That you can't take the essence. A person who's successful, and if I may so that we are,
Yeah.
is only because of the work ethic.
Yeah.
And that is not going anywhere. So if you don't have this work ethic and these 20-year-olds tell you that they need work-life balance and they need have boundaries, then you're not going to get anywhere. I'm very clear. I'm saying this and I'm not even like, of course you need to have like, and of course I take a breather and of course I take weekends off and of course I need to go away with my husband. I'm not saying no, but I feel like I decide that pace for myself. But it can't be a constant pace where you're taking off. Then you're not going anywhere in life. If you want to get anywhere in life, there's no taking off.
Yeah.
There are lots of consistency, lots of hard work, lots of sacrifices, lots of things that have to be done.
Yeah.
That doesn't change for anybody.
I think it's the mental wireframe that just doesn't break down. We're just so hardwired into doing and not treating excuses as excuses.
Yeah. There are no excuses.
There are no excuses.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing
It's
this.
been an absolute
chat with
pleasure.
you for hours.
I can chat with you for hours, literally. And now I'm telling you, like, and I was just telling her this off camera. I don't know if we recorded it, but there is this high octave energy that she exudes every time that you meet her. I've never seen her frown at work. I've never seen her sulk. I've never seen her look sick. I've never seen her be cribby or shitty about showing up, and which is so amazing because it only goes on to
I have
say,
a camera face. And my friends laugh. I have a camera voice and a camera face.
and it's doing a damn good job. So
but
hats off.
I love my job. I love my job.
And it shows.
And I'm very grateful for where I am and where these 8 years have taken me. I have lots to be grateful for. Absolutely, let's not take away from the fact that, we are enough. At least I am in a fabulous space surrounded by these wonderful women who look up to you. You can do what you love to do, which is give back in your creative form, whatever that might be. And I'm just so grateful to be in this space and to be given this opportunity to be able to do this in my 40s.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
my darling.
being here. And I'm just so excited to share this episode with everyone.
Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.